I mean, I hear so many people now on the radio who are the opposite of what I grew up with.
And I think it comes down to, like, what do you think authority comes from? And back when we were kids, authority came from enunciation, precision,
Right. Delivery.
and a kind of gravitas that you are bringing to the character you're playing. And I think that, not just me, but a whole generation of people feel like, well, that character is obviously a phony, pretending to be this like cartoon, sort of like the newscaster on The Simpsons with a deep voice, having gravitas. And so I think a lot of us just went in the other direction. And for me, I felt like, any story hits you harder if the person delivering it doesn't sound like some news robot, but in fact sounds like a real person, having the reactions a real person would have and be surprised and amazed and amused.
So
and
the very
all of
thing
those
I'm
things.
talking about, you were aware of when you were doing your show.
And
in the
conscious
beginning,
of. Yeah,
right.
no. And I mean, I started off at NPR when I was 19 at NPR in Washington.
Doing what?
First, I was an intern, and then I worked on a documentary series where I learned a lot of things. By the time I was 21, I was a production assistant on All Things Considered. And so that
Were
meant
you going to college?
between college, basically. I would go to
Where'd you
college and
go?
come back. I went to Northwestern for 2 years and then switched to Brown, graduated from Brown in semiotics, which is a field of sort of pretentious literary theory, but actually is all about how to structure a narrative. So it's enormously practical training, and there are things that I learned in school that I use every day to this day. But anyway, then we go back and forth between college and working at NPR. And at first, when I tried to be on the radio, like most people, I tried to be the official thing. And then at some point, I trained myself out of it because I thought it's not as effective.
Or
as
untrained yourself out of it?
Yeah, exactly. And NPR obviously has a tradition of people going back to the 70s who talked not like normal announcers, but like people. Susan Stamberg was the host of All Things Considered, which I think people today might not even remember, this lady who really set a tone where she just seemed like some Upper West Side New York lady, like leaning into the microphone, mensually talking to you over the radio.
Did you just say mensually, the adverb mensually?
You don't get that doesn't get much play.
That's an adverb that exists only on the Upper West Side, but I got it. Yeah. She was mensually leaning into the microphone. And
Yes, and talking like a person. So there were other people doing it. I heard people doing it. I was just like, that's the direction I got to go in.